Yo, what is up everybody? Jumpin here, and I am back on the first Descendant, and today I want to show you guys my overpowered Ajax build. I am playing an ultimate Ajax. I will tell you that you can set up a normal Ajax like this, and if you do, it is overpowered. The ultimate Ajax, the skill mods, there is one that's kind of okay, but overall, the skill mods are not worth it, unlike other Ultimate Descendants that are really make or break depending on that skill mod, and the Ultimate skill mod is just ridiculously OP. Ajax does not fall into that category. So a normal Ajax can be extremely overpowered. And the best news is that this build is getting buffed for Season 1. Now, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what I'm doing here. If you know me, you know I'm a Kyle main. With my Kyle, I like to run around and spam my third ability. Now, I told all my friends, and I knew right away, that if Kyle can do what he's doing, well, Ajax can do it too. Now, of course, there are some differences. One difference is that Ajax can do it a lot quicker than Kyle. In fact, I'm willing to say that in terms of running around, spamming that third skill, and becoming a walking nuke, Ajax is Kyle's daddy. He even looks like Kyle, but just older. It's kind of crazy. He owns Kyle in that regard. The DPS that Ajax can do by spamming his skill is better. And man, it is a lot of fun. Now, one thing you can do with Ajax that I highly recommend, it helps out the team a whole bunch with this type of playstyle, is putting down your bubble. Putting that down, especially if you can enhance it. I mean, you can spam your skills so quickly and consistently with this build that you can absolutely build up your enhancement, throw down an enhanced bubble, and then your teammates, if they want to use that, and you can use it yourself. Because you are knocking back enemies, you can just simply stand in your bubble and push them away and out of it. Defend your bubble. And the entire time they're trying to shoot you, they're not able to shoot you. And you are just spamming your ability right through the bubble. Now, what's amazing about this build is that with the sockets that I've chosen, I actually can set this up multiple ways. There's a lot of diversity. And you can have a really good gun build. If you plan on fighting interceptor bosses using Ajax, I highly recommend mainly shooting them, but also using your bubble. Try to help out your team, especially if you can give an enhanced one, it can help the damage. Alrighty guys, now I'm going to break down this build and tell you everything you're going to want to know. Alrighty, well this is my main setup. This is the spam setup. I'm calling it Kyle's daddy because the spam is unreal with this. You can use your third skill every 1 second. And I have so much cost reduction, it's 50% in this build. And I have enough MP because of my gear that I can spam the living crap out of all my skills, and it really doesn't affect my MP all that bad. Eventually, I will pick up MP. I do not need MP collector or anything like that, and it is amazing. Now, one thing about Ajax, you do not have to worry about having that negative skill power. A lot of builds, you have to kind of think about this because sometimes it can really mess with your damage. Ajax, he don't care about that. His damage is just so high with the multiplier that it does not matter. I have a lot of cooldown on this. I have this focus on mod for that extra cooldown. I have this MP conversion for cooldown, nimble fingers for cooldown. I also want a lot of HP. Now that's playing a little bit into the diversity of the build. Because I have all this HP, I can use other things that if I scale my HP, I can get a lot of shields, I can get a lot of defense. You'll see what I'm talking about in a moment. But I personally like the HP. In the future though, Maybe I'll get more defense on the build because they are going to buff Void Charge. This is our skill mod. It's very important, mainly because of what it does to the skill overall. The part about the defense, don't worry about that, at least right now, because it's not worth it. In the future, it might be, and then it would be more of a consideration. Also, the reset, because our skill comes back every 1 second, it pretty much resets anyway, so that part doesn't really matter. The part that actually matters is that it changes the skill into a dimensional skill, and it also changes the cooldown to 10 seconds instead of 15 seconds. You can get a cap of cooldown reduction of 90%. We can hit that really easily with this build. At 90%, even though it says 2.5 seconds, it's really every 1 second. And it only cost me 15 MP. I have a lot of MP, and of course I can recover MP by picking it up off of dead enemies. Now, let me go ahead and talk about some of my other settings here because I have other builds. I guess I should actually bring up that the MVP here is multi-talented. Because we are just using our third skill and we're spamming it, we will always have that extra cooldown, which means we will always have the 1 second spam. Now, let me go ahead and show you this. If you have an ultimate Ajax, you can use Life Barrier if you like for this particular setup. That's totally fine because Life Barrier is not that bad. And because of my setup, I kind of prefer my barriers and my bubbles to scale purely off my HP and not off my defense. So this overall is not a bad skill mod. But the better one, and for any Ajax out there, you don't have to be the ultimate one for this, there is Body Enhancement. Now, Body Enhancement will make it so that whenever you increase your HP, it's going to increase your defense and your shields. You will lose your passive though. That is the downside. Now you do get cooldown from the passive, but you don't really need it all that much just because we have so much cooldown on the build. Now the main thing about this particular setup, the reason why it's good is because one, it's extremely tanky, and I think that most people know about this setup with Ajax. You can be really tanky if you use Body Enhancement and you go for a lot of tanky things. Well, one cool thing about it is that it's not changing our skill to Dimension like the other one. Now, we can't use multi-talented, but what we can do, and right now it's 2.8 seconds for the cooldown. I can get that lower, but I can get it down to 2.1, which is just like Kyle actually. But this is a tech skill now. It being a tech skill means that we can use the Secret Garden, because the Secret Garden, when you use tech skills, can give you a buff. It is a 53% skill damage buff. It's also a gun buff, which is nice if you want to shoot this thing. But the 53% skill power modifier, that is what we are actually trying to get. So let me go ahead and show you something, because I'm going to make this just like my Kyle build. I'm going to swap out my components here, and instead I'm going to go for the Frozen Heart set. And I'm only doing this because I want that extra little bit of skill cooldown. And because I just got that, now it's 2.1 seconds. That's about as best as it's going to get for me, but now I can actually spam the skill. Also, let me change my reactor. So this is just a really good example. I'm going to lose some cooldown here as well. But this is a really good example of the damage of Ajax and this setup. Now, the Secret Garden is always frustrating, even with Ajax, because I'm trying to get it to trigger, trying to get the stacks up, and it has a horrible trigger rate, even though it seems like it would be good, because it's 50%. Okay, that was a big number there. These are actually kind of huge numbers. I want you to keep in mind 1.4 million. I want you to keep in mind, though, I'm going to be honest, these enemies are weak to non-attribute. At least I think they are. So typically these types of enemies are going to take a lot more damage from Ajax or Kyle. So if I'm going to show you these enemies, just keep that in mind. They are weak to this, and they are probably taking more damage than the average enemy would actually take. But yes, the Secret Garden with this particular setup is kind of insane. You can't spam your skill nearly as much, and I have this in here just because I want the cooldown. I don't care about the other part of it. And I also have Dangerous Ambush in here just for the extra damage. But the skill cost reduction could also be used in this if you want to have that amazing skill cost reduction. But overall, the damage is kind of insane with Ajax in this setup. But you cannot spam it. I personally prefer the spam build. And with the buffs coming to this is just the better build. Now finally, let me show you a very interesting and awesome setup that you can do with the same sockets. But what this is our boss killer build. This is our interceptor boss battle setup. So what we do with this is that we want to shoot bosses, which I'm going to be using a very good DPS weapon for that, the Enduring Legacy. But I'm going to try to stand next to my teammates. I'm going to put down a bubble, and I have a lot of radius on my bubble, or at least enough that I should lure them in. Normally it works, even though I play with randoms. They will just run right in my bubble for the safety of it. But guess what? I'm going to be buffing them because I can spam that third skill. I can buff them with it using this skill mod. Now, because I can buff them, and the buff is actually kind of insane. I'm going to go over that in a second. But because I can buff them, I can build up Passionate Sponsor. This can give you a 75% gun damage buff. It's a power damage buff as well. This lowers the damage of the skill to make it really not worth it if you're going for damage. But if you're looking for something that can buff allies, or if you want to shoot and stay back in bubbles with friends, it's amazing. And your friends will be invincible. Let's talk about this buff. This buff is kind of insane. It is Kyle, but it is 10 times better than what Kyle can do. So Kyle can restore ally shields when he uses his third skill. Now this is just built in, it's inherent, so that's really nice. And it will restore the amount of shields based on Kyle's maximum shields. Now this, when it hits your allies, it's going to fully recover their shields no matter what. It's just a full recover. That's actually kind of crazy. And also, it has a 10-second duration where it will continuously recover 5% of their shields over that duration. And it gives them a 50% defense increase buff. That is a very nice buff that you can give your allies. And when you're fighting bosses and you're sitting in bubbles and you're shooting, and you can have maybe a friendly Enzo with a box that can buff your crit chance on your Enduring Legacy, you will delete bosses. I have shot focus in this for that extra firearm attack. But if I use an enhanced bubble, and I have this, and I have Passionate Sponsor all the way built up, I'm giving myself a 100% firepower buff with Ajax. So I absolutely love my Ajax. I think that all three setups are really good if you're looking for damage. You want something like this. If you're looking for that spam, which is a lot of fun, absolutely Void Charge is amazing. And it changing the skill so that it is dimensional. Well, I have a lot of great gear for dimensional because of Kyle. Let's talk about that gear now. Let me start with my reactor. So the reactor I was just showing was this one. That is not my main one. My main reactor is actually, for the Secret Garden, is this one. Because I'm looking for that skill cooldown. It has that non-attribute damage on it. Now for my actual Ajax build that you're going to be watching the gameplay, there's going to be some extra gameplay at the end. And that gameplay is going to be me finishing that wave-based activity. And Ajax is just doing work. Now, in that gameplay though, I'm running this reactor and I'm running around with the Thunder Cage. I like the Thunder Cage, I still do. It's one of my favorite guns to actually shoot and to mob with. I really like mobbing. I like bossing too, but mobbing is just a lot of fun to me. But with this setup, I use the Thunder Cage on a lot of different skill users. And because of that, I personally do like Defense Master in my Thunder Cage. And that's actually kind of perfect for Ajax because we absolutely want to be using this with Void Charge. It will buff the damage. Even though right now it's not really doing it, in the future they are going to change that and it will give us a nice damage buff. So, let me go ahead and now talk a little bit about some of my components because I was talking about this. This is the Frozen Heart set. If you're looking for that little bit of extra cooldown, you can get it that way. But my normal components for my spam setup is this. Now, I love having that max HP. That MP out of combat is amazing. It definitely helps a lot. This has defense on it. You can get more max HP. You can have like almost 28,000 on Ajax if you go for HP on this. I chose to go for the defense because why not? Now in this component, this does have HP. It actually has a nice amount of HP. It has that MP recovery in combat, and it also has the max MP. It makes a huge difference. Trust me, I can tell you from my first-hand experience. When you put on a yellow max MP, and you have this amount of skill cost reduction, it's like your skills cost nothing. But if you do not have the max MP from the component, then you start to notice that you are losing MP. This makes a huge difference for your spam. Absolutely, you want a component, a sensor that's going to have max MP. That is extremely important. Now on this piece, the defense, really good. The set bonus, I don't think duration does anything for Ajax, but I'm just using it, and if you guys want to farm this is from Devourer. The easiest boss in the game. You can delete that boss with so many groups of random people, and you can easily farm these up. But these are some great components, even though the set bonus is kind of whatever. Now, if I want to, and sometimes I actually do, for my boss setup when I shoot, I will actually replace this with another one of these just to get the full set. Because if I do lose health, why not? I'm going to get some gun damage out of it, and I'm shooting the boss anyway. So these are all my components, and these are my main ones. And if I was to actually run around with the Secret Garden going for that damage, I think I probably would use this just because I want that cooldown. I personally think that it's a big difference when you have a 2.1 second spam compared to a 2.8 second spam. I mean, it's not that big of a difference, but you will definitely notice that for sure. Let me go ahead and show you my legacy. This is such an amazing gun, such a great DPS machine. If you are looking for something to do really good boss damage, get yourself a legacy, max it out. You do want to upgrade this thing, and the reason why you do is because of this, the effective range drop off. This has a horrible penalty at first, but once you fully upgrade it, you will lose that penalty and your range will pretty much double on the gun. So it is totally worth grinding that gun. And then finally, my Secret Garden. I think I need to replace one of my mods here. I thought I could use Sharp Precision Shot. Apparently it's not possible with a tactical rifle. It makes sense. This mod does say that while pulling the trigger, where with a tactical rifle you have to... Well, it still doesn't make sense, I guess, because it does say while pulling the trigger, and technically I can be pulling the trigger with a tactical rifle. I thought it says while holding the trigger, which at that point it would make sense. But regardless, it doesn't work with tacticals, and I thought it would. So I think I'm going to probably replace that in this gun. But overall, this gun is amazing. It actually has 100% critical hit rate. So every single time you shoot it, it's going to crit. And on top of it, if you can give yourself the buff and maintain those stacks, and with Ajax, it's really kind of easy because he has multiple tech skills that you can spam if you are going for that. If you do that, the gun will do so much more damage because it does get a 53% gun damage bonus on top of the skill damage bonus that you get. So this thing is a beast. It just is. Now, there is another part of this gun, which is the first effect, and on Ajax, I'm not too sure. I was trying it out, and it makes sense with my spam build, because I'm spamming and I'm spamming. But even with that, I didn't really notice it actually helping me. It always gives me a little bit of resource, but never enough to actually allow me to build up into my enhancement quicker. Now, I'm sure there are ways that you can build him if you want to get your enhancement skill as fast as possible. Maybe potent collector, things like that. But overall, I really like my setup. I think that it is at least perfect for me. I love to spam my ability for mobbing. And I also have a pretty awesome bossing build with my Ajax using the same components, which is something I'm trying to do now with all of my Descendants if I can. There is actually something I wanted to bring up, a couple things. One of those things is actually the fact that Kyle is Ajax's son. I'm just saying, right? Ajax is his daddy. I mean, look at this. How is that not just an older Kyle? Kyle's a little bit taller maybe, but his mama was tall. So I'm just saying, it's something I've noticed. Ajax is Kyle's daddy. Now, there's one last thing I wanted to talk about, which is another weapon, which I brought up in my Kyle video recently, but it is the Peacemaker. I don't have this gun. You have to farm Gluttony. I don't want to do that with randoms. I haven't even attempted it yet. But this gun, you can get a lot of benefits for spamming a dimensional skill. This would be perfect with the spamming build. You would give yourself some non-attribute skill power, and also the gun itself could be decent. I don't know if the gun is decent, but being able to shoot all the shots at once does sound kind of cool, I gotta admit. Alrighty guys, well, that's going to pretty much do it for this video. I really hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, will you please like the video for me? Be sure to subscribe for future First Descendant videos. I really do hope that everyone has a very nice day, and peace out.
Let's go.
The Dimensional Blast is forcing the Vulgus forces to cross over.
Back away! Take this. Get down! Need to be recharged! No chance!
How dare you?
Out of my way. No chance! Get ready. Back away! No chance! Out of here! Watch out! Oh.
Vulgus ambush detected. They were lurking beyond the void.
Out of back away! Back away! She's fine. Take this. Back away! No chance! Out of my way. No chance! Out of down. Back away. No chance. Come fight me.
I've pinpointed the target. Focus, Descendant.
No chance. Back away. No chance. Back away. No chance. Back away. No chance. Back away. Let's go.
Vulgus ambush detected. They were lurking beyond the void.
Out of my way. No chance. This. Out of my way. No chance. Shields are down. They need to be recharged. No chance.
Loading.
Loading.
The dimensional blast is forcing the Vulgus forces to cross over.
Back away. You're next. No chance. Shit. Take this. No chance. I'll stop them. Back away. Take this. Down.
This could get messy.
Reload.
Vulgus ambush detected. They were lurking beyond the void.
Back away. Shit. Initiate defense. Out of my way. Back away.
Scatter them.
Take this. I'll stop it. Get it down. Needs to be recharged. Take this. away. Back away. Shields are down. Need to be recharged. No chance. Take this. Back away. This. Shields are offline. No chance. Shield is down.
Vulgus ambush detected. They were lurking beyond the void.
Take this. Back away. No chance. Go. Back away. Back away. No chance.
Don't hate me later.
Take this. No chance. This. No chance. Back away. Take this.
Take this.
Back away. Take this. You're next.
Vulgus ambush detected. They were lurking beyond the void.
Back away. This. Take this. Back away.
I'm loading.
Back away. Out. Back away. Take this.